Okay, let's see here. What else do I need to say? I know my makeup comes off every now and then. Let's see. Overall, it's a great series. It's not. It's pretty. It's pretty. It has a lot of, I would say it has some shocking scenes. I don't think it has nearly the amount of body horror or gore that it could have had. Mostly the scares to me come from the very first episode where Dahmer's sitting with survivor Tracy Edwards, who is played by, excuse me again, Tracy Edwards. He is the hero, one of the heroes actually. There's another hero I have to mention. His name was, I believe, never mind. Let me just look it up. Oh yeah, Sean J. Brown plays Tracy Edwards, who on July 22nd, 1991, escaped Dahmer. I don't know if it was exactly the way they portrayed it, where he gouged his eyes a little bit. I think he might have caught Dahmer off guard with a sudden punch in the face, I mean. Anyway, he managed to get away from Dahmer one way or another and flag down some cops. And those cops, instead of being like those other two cops in the Conorak episode, where they barely stepped in and didn't want to look and said they were going to go get deloused, pieces of you-know-what. And that's another thing. I am not cursing anymore. I don't want to. I mean, I might let a few words slip every now and then, but I'm changed, and well, we'll leave it at that. Anyway, those two cops that pretty much escorted Conorak to his death, they weren't there. This was another pair of decent cops, I guess semi-decent. Glenda Cleveland was yelling at them, "You guys came too late. You guys came too late. What'd you find in there? How many people dead did you find in there?" And it's like, well, I'm not blaming those cops. Those two cops actually went in. They said, "You stay where you are. We'll look for ourselves for the key to the handcuffs." And maybe by this time Dahmer had enough. He was just, serial killers tend to escalate. And he was killing like a guy every 2 or 3 days at this point. He went from killing one, and then 9 years later he started killing again. And then he went, there was a point where he didn't kill for 5 months. And then towards the end, they're going to get caught one way or another. Some of them never get caught. There's still, to this day, mysteries about who killed these people and who killed that group of people. But, a lot of them, they make mistakes because they're killing so voraciously and rapidly in quick succession that they make boo-boos and they get caught. And either that or the Lord intervened. And yes, I believe, and I don't care whether you agree with me or not, I'm a believer. I don't want to force anything down your throat. I think the Lord intervened. He sent Tracy Edwards in there, and Tracy Edwards got out. And Tracy Edwards has said this himself. And I still think he's a hero, even though he's had personal troubles. He's been accused of stuff himself later. And if you want to hear about that, you can go on YouTube, look it up. I'm not going to discuss it here. To me, he's a hero. And the other hero was, let me think now. Let me see. There were 4 survivors. There were Somsack, Synthosyphone, age 13. There was Ron Flowers Jr. That's the one who survived. He was the one whom Dahmer took to his grandma's house, and grandma came downstairs and said, what's wrong with this young man? Is he drunk? What's wrong? Dahmer's like, get out of here, go back to bed, I'll take care of him. He wanted to kill the guy, but grandma said, we need to take this kid to the hospital. And Dahmer he wants her to just get out of his business, let him do what he wants to do, but she's not going to have it. She sat there until the kid woke up, and then the kid gets on a bus, or they help him to get on a bus, and Dahmer's like, here, take him home. And the kid ends up in a hospital. I don't know about the cornfield. I mean, where did the cornfield come out of? I think it was a hallucination thing. But the kid ends up in the hospital. He reports Dahmer to the police. Of course, they don't listen to him either. So he's a hero in my book for trying to help. He's a hero for trying to stop Dahmer. He nearly became a victim of Dahmer. So, and I applaud the grandma for trying to protect that kid too. I mean, I don't think she knew what was going on exactly, but she was an accidental hero, sort of, She was just some old lady that did not know what was going on. I don't know about her dementia in the end, whether that was all true or not, but either she didn't, I don't know if she was as homophobic as she was portrayed. But in those days, I mean, up until the 2010s, homophobia, even back in the 2000s, people were really, the way they talked and the way they acted toward people. Well, I mean, with Trump, never mind. With the current political state, homophobia is back. Trump doesn't like people who are not straight. He doesn't like people. He just doesn't like too many people, period. Okay? That's all I'll say. But back in those days, in the 90s, in the 80s, etc., being gay, being of color, being in a big city like that, being in a bad neighborhood, there was just a lot of, and that's what a lot of this series is about. It's about the racism. It's about the prejudice against the LGBT communities and the colored communities, people of color, excuse me. The Laos family suffered 2 tragedies, and these black men, I still wonder if the Native American boy, the young 14-year-old, had family looking for him. I know he had a family. I know he did, but it doesn't say much about him. I'm sure they were somewhere grieving, or did they even, I'm sure they were looking for him. Somebody must have loved that little boy. It haunts me. That little boy in particular. Conrack, I know he had a loving family. It's still not right that he was killed. I'm not saying anything. But he had a loving family who grieved him. Did that little boy, James, I don't remember his last name because it was a very hard last name to pronounce, but he was Native American and he was only 14. I will continue this in the next video.